Hello and welcome to the CatchaLife Coaches Corner. I am CAL lead coach Melissa Luke, and I'm so excited to welcome retired U.S. Marine Robert Dominguez to today's show. Robert is a CAL veteran athlete, and today he will share with us about his determination, what drives him, his role with CatchaLife, what it means to dedicate yourself to helping lift others up, overcoming personal hurdles. Welcome to this week's episode of the Coaches Corner. Robert, welcome. Thanks for taking some time with us today. It's so good to see you.
Yeah, it's good to see you too, Melissa, and thank you for having me on here.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Robert, let's start today and have you tell us a little bit about your backstory from your time in the Marines.
Yeah, absolutely. Again, thank you guys for having me on here and be able to talk and, share my story. It's really important. My name is Robert Dominguez. I served in the United States Marine Corps for 12 years. I was medically retired after 12 years and 2 months. I served in various different units. When I got in the Marine Corps, I think I had the life pretty good. I served with the Marine Corps Silent Drill Team, so I was able to travel the world and be able to represent the Marine Corps to the nation and show the discipline and being on the dress blues and commercials and everything that a Marine wanted to do when they joined was to travel. And so, that was a really great first duty station of mine, was to be able to be at a place that was, so great to be out in NFL halftime shows and stuff.
Oh my gosh, that's incredible. Yeah. I mean, that's what so many people think of the Marines, that silent drill team like that.
Yeah. Always in the dress blues and looking fresh and stuff. So, that was really awesome. I felt like I tell people, they'd ask, what is it like when you're on the drill team? I always felt like I was like a rock star. You had to be ready to perform, for the nation or whoever calls to represent every service member in the Marine Corps. So, I did that for a few years. I re-enlisted and I went to 1st Battalion, 5th Marines, where I had a couple of deployments with them. And one of those deployments happened to be in Sangin, Afghanistan in 2011. We deployed in March 24th and returned in October 17th. And, that deployment stands out a lot to me, and where a lot of my struggles had started, because during that deployment in my platoon alone, we've had 10 or more that were wounded. And out of the whole deployment, we lost 17
oh my gosh.
Marines and sailors, and 5 of those were in my platoon. 2 of those attached to us. And so, when you're out there, during that deployment, you kind of just kept going on with the mission and stuff and
right,
just making it happen.
Right.
So, it was the normal, because every day something was going on or happening. And, as you return home, and I went straight to other schools and I was looking for the next, the next stepping stone. Where was I going to go next?
Which
platoon would I lead and whatnot? And so I started to go to some schools, and then I went on another deployment, which was it was a great time. It was very easy. I got to go on ship and see a lot of other different countries, and it was definitely a different deployment. But after I was finished with 1st Battalion, 5th Marines, I went to Weapons Field Training Battalion. I became a primary marksmanship instructor. So I went to go teach recruits how to basically handle a M16 and shoot from 100 yards. And so, that was pretty fun, leaving the, the place that I was, going on deployments and stuff. I got to take a little break and be able to give back again to the Marine Corps by, teaching recruits. I was there for a little bit over a year, and then I went to recruiting duty. So as soon as I went out into, I recruited out of Sacramento, and I was back at my hometown recruiting. So I did that for 3 years, and I would say that staying so busy after my deployment in 2011, and I was out in recruiting 2015, that not until that moment where I went on recruiting duty was where I realized that something was different. And, having to go out in schools and speak to people and getting those hard questions that, you asked, because they're very different. And so I started to feel alone because you have a small team on recruiting, but you don't have all these other Marines. You're not doing the job that you did, or, it's kind of out of that realm of, the infantry world and the things that I loved or I was doing. But it's just, at that moment, I started to realize that something wasn't right. Something was different. And so, I've asked to get some help, see if maybe I could talk to someone to kind of see
Right.
what it is. But the minute I found out, I just kind of got scared. I got really scared of that. Hey, there's nothing wrong with me. I've done all these other things after deployment that was fine. I was meritoriously promoted, to staff sergeant, and I felt like I was doing great. I was the man, and there's no way that nothing can happen to me. Yeah. And that started to get even more scary, because now, that had transferred after I finished recruiting duty. That they transferred me to Wounded Warrior Battalion, so I can go get treatment and go get treated.
Okay.
And so, I spent my time at the Wounded Warrior Battalion, where I find out that, I'm going to be medically separated due to post-traumatic stress and some of the other injuries I sustained for my neck and my back, and that, I wasn't going to be able to carry on the duties as an infantryman. And so, that was really hard to hear, because all my career as a Marine, all those great things I did, and
Right.
fun, and I felt like I had so much to give still, that but when you're in those dark places and those demons, that they really had taken over, and I needed to step back to realize that my life was was on the line. So I was transferred out of the Marine Corps, and that was it. I mean, that was the end of my 12 years.
Can you kind of walk us through, Robert, so towards the end, about the time you get transferred to Wounded Warrior Battalion, something isn't quite right. You've identified it, you've even, you said, like, it scared you. What did those early days of separation look like? And, how were you managing? How were you getting through that early time?
So, as soon as I started to find out that things were different, like I said, I was kind of hiding from it. It was just, I was running to alcohol. I was using alcohol as a way to mask the pain. I was using, my prescription medications, to try to numb myself, because I didn't want to feel those feelings. I didn't want to go back to the deployment I had, to, losing friends, and it was just too hard to go back. It was just easier just to try to numb it. It is always easier just to do it, but that was doing so much damage to me.
Right.
For so long. It happened for 6.5 years, where I was just drinking and hiding. And I believe that if people saw my outside, because I suffer from, invisible wounds, that they're not going to know that I'm hurting.
Right.
I can look fit, and I can hold a smile and get a haircut and shave my face, then people are going to ask me questions. So, I kept self-destructing those at the end of my time, where, I've drank, and I, at the time I was married, and I, my son's mom at the time just couldn't deal with it. And I isolated, and I pushed my family away. I pushed friends away. And at that, it led me to, separating from my wife, and then where I ultimately just was tired, and I wanted to end my life. And so I was found in my backyard, and, I was placed on a hold for a few days to get evaluated, because of all the self-destructing that I was doing from hiding all that pain. Just really, it almost cost me my life. And, it already cost me my family. And so, I just, by holding all those things in, just wasn't doing it. It was just shaking that soda and trying to open it up. Everything was coming out. And, but alcohol was the big thing for me that I was doing to kind of mask and hide the pain. And it really led to, losing my family, and, I lost myself.
So let's talk about, for a minute, Robert, you go on this med hold, you've gone, you're dealing with this tremendous pain and invisible injuries. And what I want to ask you about, because I know this is a big part of your recovery, what drove you to determine, or at what point did you determine that you needed to place your life in God's hands and focus on a lifestyle of sobriety?
So, I've always was a believer, but I was always afraid to kind of look into that. I was always afraid to fully submit myself and fully give myself to God. And I've been to programs and stuff, and I've learned a lot of things about faith and how God will help me. And we always push it aside, like, oh no, this isn't it, but I tried everything else, and nothing was working for me. Nothing was working. I've done everything else. I've tried drinking. I tried taking pills. I smoked. I've done everything else. And so I decided that the one thing that I really haven't fully tried was giving myself to God and being sober. And so what I did was, I dropped to my knees and told God, take it, take this from me, take this pain from me, take everything that, you could take it all. Just, I want to be healed. I want to be able to feel again. I want to be able to love again.
I think that's something a lot of us can relate to, in our own ways that have gone through, just very difficult times. I mean, I've had to do that, I can't do this alone, and without that peace of God in my life, I know that lost feeling, and I know I can't crawl out of that hole, and I know I can't fight the demons. Can you talk a little bit about, how putting your faith in God changed your life and your perspective, for the better? And can you share with us how that faith is keeping you sober, or how you lean on that faith to continue this life of sobriety?
Yeah. So, as I gave myself to him and I started to read more and to be around a lot more other individuals that were, believers, and started to learn, and like what Christ tells us, that he'll never leave us nor forsake us. And, when I'm going through pain or hard times, I think about, the stories of Job, when he lost everything and how he was faithful and stayed and he was given more. And so, David fighting the giants and he did it. And, in a sense, my demons are those giants, and I'm slaying them daily. So I just keep fighting and remembering those stories and the times that I was in a dark place, but he brought me out.
Yeah.
And I think about it every day that, we're not promised tomorrow. So if we can just remember that everything we do now it's going to affect, our families, our friends, and everybody. So being the man that God created you to be, being the woman that God created you to be is just what I look at. I want to be great.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. How has your sobriety changed your perspective on life? You were using alcohol there for a number of years. I'm assuming you were viewing life through a completely different lens, so how is just being sober, how has it changed the way you look at life, or even as yourself?
Yeah, it's, being sober is a lot different, when you're out drinking with your friends and you're having a good time, and it does something to you, especially when you suffer from the things that we have, from, post-traumatic stress or any types of trauma you've been through.
Right.
You involve alcohol or drugs, it does something else. And it's just, you're not the person that you are. And, just being sober has really gave me a new vision, a new light, a new feeling. So where, if I see something and I want it, I get to go and get it. If someone asks me for advice or an opinion or something, I can give it, and it's authentic. It's real. It's how I feel. It's not, we're out here at the bar being drunk,
Right.
I get that faith. And, I'll share with you, like when I was at Wounded Warrior and I competed for the Marine trials, the first year that I did compete, I was drunk, I was drinking, I was in pain, and I was just miserable. That was that transitioning time when I was leaving the service. I was losing my identity. And so at that time, like I was going out competing, I wasn't getting anything. I felt like, man, I didn't didn't feel anything. I didn't feel good. I didn't look good. My body was just trash. I couldn't lift right. I wasn't strong. Everything was so off.
Yeah.
And the next year after that is when I got out and I had, went through my dark times. I gave myself to God and I got sober. I went back and competed in the same sports, if not more, 8 different sports, and I became the ultimate champ, and I took that, and that was all because I was sober. That was all because I changed my way of thinking. My life with alcohol and drugs and smoking and all that, it wasn't it. And I wasn't getting anywhere with it, and with the help of my friends and through Christ that I was in the program, especially CatchaLife just helped me with getting grants, has helped me to become just a much better athlete, and I became a champ. So sober, I was able to conquer all the things that I wanted. I went back in that fight and I did it. I felt like that I failed and I didn't do anything and that I couldn't even win I'm going to come back on top and I'm going to work harder. And sober was the way that I was able to do it and motivate and help other athletes as well.
Oh my gosh, absolutely. So there's so much I want to talk to you about fitness wise, Robert. Let's kind of jump into that because fitness has been such an incredible part, of your recovery and your story. Tell us about your fitness. How has it kind of changed through the years? I mean, I've got a lot of questions I want to ask you about it, but what does fitness mean to you? What did it mean when you were getting out?
Every service member, loves to work out. Everyone wants to get in there and get in the gym, and everyone's got their way of lifting and what it does for them. Going to the gym and working out for me is just it's a way of life. It's part of me. It's part of my recovery. It's part of my mental health, all my issues that I have. That is all goes into the gym. And, that whole, if I didn't have working out, I don't know what I would probably be doing. I know that I wouldn't be in shape for one. I wouldn't be participating in any athletic sports, but it's just overall physical fitness to me has just been a life-changing experience to being, one person of just being broken and just sit there in the bed, or I can just get up and actually do it because I'm injured as well and I'm hurt. My body hurt, but I don't want to be like that, and I don't want to be on the ground. I don't want to be on the bottom being hurt and weak and people feel sorry. I wanted to get up and I wanted to work out. I wanted to see my body change and make a difference and to show other veterans, show other people that it's possible. That
absolutely
working out is the way that, can heal you. And it's healed me. It's healed me, through everything I've been through. If I was angry, I went to the gym. If I was sad, I went to the gym. Sometimes if I was hungry or hangry, I went to the gym. And I was just like, I got to get it. And it's transformed my body into the way that I wanted it, and like how I feel for my sports, what I do and stuff. But it's changed so much for me mentally and helped me to get through all of it.
Yeah.
Because it's a way, and I connect with people like you guys too. So
totally. So Robert, you've competed in the Marine Corps trials twice, and under very different circumstances, like you already mentioned. And we'll talk about that a little more in a minute. But, even the first time you competed, who or what even inspired you or what made you want to be competitive, be a competitive athlete, compete in the Marine Corps trials? What made you want to do that?
So being competitive was always something that, even as a kid playing sports and doing different things at home, going hunting with father and stuff. And sports was always my thing. But what encouraged me the most was, we're in the service and we're very competitive, and finding out I get to compete against, my peers or compete against other branches of service was just motivating to me that I can do it. But I never cycled before. I never did archery. I never shot the pistol or the rifle, or, I didn't even get on a rowing machine. I didn't do that stuff. But when I found out that I was able to compete in those things and swim again at my age, like, okay, this is cool. Let's do it. So, it gave me a push. It gave me something to look forward to. It gave me goals. It held me accountable working out. It gave me coaches to hold me accountable and to keep there. And I had other people that were going through things that were competing in the same sports.
Yeah.
And so it just kind of motivated me that I was back on a team again, and I was back a part of something, because I was already going to lose, I already knew I was leaving a service. So I wanted to find something, and sports and working out was something else that I could be a part of. And it was just, I really enjoyed every moment. It's just such a great.
Yeah. So I want to talk a little bit more about actually competing at the trials, and you were two completely different men from the first time you competed at the trials to the second. The second time you go there, you're sober, you've given your life to God, you have the CatchaLife family behind you, you have Coach Carnell. I mean, Robert, tell us about that year too. You went there, you were the ultimate champion. Tell us about your second year at the trials.
Yeah. So, like I said, the first year was really hard because I was drunk, and I a lot of times I was out drinking and stuff, and I wasn't there mentally. I was very lost and dark, very, very, very dark place. And, the second year when I competed and I did that sober and I was walking with God, and I did have great people in my life, that were helping me and I stay with. And, those people who love me, took care of me, and they helped me as well. I want to give them credit as well, because they held me up. And, going through the sports and going through running and swimming and shooting, all of that stuff it was so easy when you're sober. It was so easy when my mind was pure and I was healthy, and I didn't have to worry about a hangover the next day. But generally, when you do quit drinking or you do quit smoking and you start working on the internal things, because like I said before, I was working on the outside appearance. Yeah. I started that whole year of my transformation of working on the inside, because the outside isn't nothing. The inside really matters the most. So I worked on my heart and I worked on my mind. And what that did was it pushed me through that whole trials, that no one was going to beat me. Nobody was going to, no one was going to take me out of this, because I put in a lot of work, and I trained, and I quit drinking, and I had enough energy, stamina. I had it all to go through it, because I had the power. Like, I just felt so good. It was so different. And I wish I can explain the way it felt inside. But it was just unbelievable, because I looked back and I was like, wow. And I have two different photos.
Oh my gosh. I can't even imagine. Right. That's incredible.
Yeah. It's crazy.
It has to be just so surreal for you to look at that and look at those photos.
It is. I look back all the time. I was like, wow, is that what I look like? Because it doesn't even look like me, and I look like a totally different person. And, I do feel like a totally different person, because I am, and I've been renewed, and I'm grateful. I'm happy, and I haven't felt this, this feeling. It's free. It's so free. It feels so good.
Oh, so wonderful to hear, Robert. So wonderful. I want to ask you, you come out of the Southern California area, we have a lot of, very big CatchaLife veteran base out there. What has it meant to you to be connected to, fellow veteran athletes, and even Cal veteran athletes in your area, to train with, to cheer you on, to push you? What has that meant?
It's another family, having other athletes and other, Cal veterans around. When we get together, it doesn't matter what branch of service you're in, you're just like, oh, what's up, brother? What's up, sister? We're good. We're here, we're helping each other. And, we do get to share our stories with each other. And, and I did have an opportunity to work with other Cal veterans. We went to Colorado and got to meet, Jason and Matt, and
Yep.
we got to go out there, and it was cool. It's just like if we never, it's like we never knew, we never even knew each other, but it felt like we knew each other for a long time.
But you're so tight. Yeah.
Yeah. It's just a whole nother family, that I love about it. And that was something that, when you leave the service, that I was missing. That was that part that I wanted, was who can I be a part of, or what can I do now and still have that feeling I was missing. And so, I got Carnell as my coach. Him and I are always getting it. And, he pushes me and I push him, and, and asking him different questions, different things I need. He's there. Sarah, working out with her at her place. And so it's great to have someone there. You know what I mean? It's like when you're all alone, or you feel like you're all alone, you don't have to be. And so, just being able to pick up the phone and call somebody, hey, especially if there are another veteran, I mean, it feels good. They don't have to be veterans, but if that's a plus, it's always great they know where you're coming from. You can
absolutely.
Talk, it's good.
I mean, I've said it before. I've said it before on the show, and I'm going to say it again today, and I'll say it many times. I've long held to the belief that one of the things that saved my life was CatchaLife being out on the other end of the line for me. And I always knew that, and I carry that through to any of my veteran brothers and sisters. Like, you need to reach out, because just knowing someone is out there on that other end of the line, it can make all the difference in your life, and it can save your life, and it saved many lives. So
exactly.
Yeah.
That's, part of why, that I'm still here today is because of friends and athletes that I did reach out to who did help me in those times, and they were there for me. When I called, they were there, and they made calls to make it happen. And those were other veterans, those were other athletes, and those were other friends, they were there for me, and, they loved me, they cared for me, and, we took care of each other.
Yeah. That's so awesome. So awesome. I want to ask you a little bit more about your actual training. And, I know you travel quite a bit for work. Can you talk to us a little bit about what your training looks like when you are on the road, when you're traveling? How do you get your fitness in?
So, I do travel for work. And then while I'm out here, that we don't have much equipment where I'm at, depends on where I'm staying. Sometimes, if I'm in a hotel or whatnot, and with everything being closed, I got to really adapt,
Yep.
We got to really figure out what it is to keep going. So, I do a lot of body exercises using my body weight. And, I would get with different people, different other Cal vets, and just asking for some advice of what I can do to, work out. I mean, what things can I grab to lift? Because I want to lift it.
Yeah.
But, I work out every day still. I would go out and I can run, and jog lightly. I still do push-ups every day. If the gym has some dumbbells or whatever we got in there, I would utilize to make up workouts, different things to target the areas that I want. When I compete for powerlifting, it's in bench press. So I try to, focus a lot on my bench and trying to keep that strong. But a lot of stuff is just whatever I got, I'm going to make it happen. I continue to work out every day while I'm on the road. And then when I do go back home, I do have equipment. So, thanks to CatchaLife, I do have some equipment that I can utilize that I use. And I also got other Cal family that has equipment at their house, and we all get together. Like I mentioned, in Carnell, Sarah does. And, those are the SoCal family there that I spend a lot of time with. So here on the road, always traveling, using body weight, and continuing to push myself, not finding, there's no excuse, I go out there and I make it happen. And when I'm home, if I'm trying to make an excuse, I'm sure my coach is going to be on me quick.
Oh yeah. Carnell, he's going to crawl up your butt. Yeah. I know if Sarah Carnell, if any of those guys heard you were coming up with excuses.
Yeah.
No, that's not going to fly here. That's not going to fly. So kind of, athletically or training wise, you know, is there any goals right now you're working towards, Robert? Or, what do you kind of look at the next half year that you want to see in your fitness journey?
You know what? Right now, what I'm just looking at is I'm just trying to just maintain maintain where I'm at right now physically, and just trying to keep that, because I don't know what what's gonna happen next with this.
Right.
I don't know what competitions will be available or what we can do. So right now, what I plan on doing is just staying where I'm at, and once those doors are open, if there is some meets or something, I would start to train specifically for that.
Right.
That's that sport. But right now, I just want to maintain my physique. I want to be able to stay. I just want to stay ready, so you don't have to get ready. You know what I mean?
Total. Oh my gosh. Yeah.
For all of it. So, I mean, I'm always ready, but if I can stay where I'm at, I'll be happy, because I don't want to overtrain myself, and then when the competition comes, I'm way too beat. So right now, we have some plans in place, and my coach is working with me about it, and is just trying to maintain that and work slowly. So when you get the word that there is some competitions that we're going to do, then we can start training for that and max out at that competition.
Yeah. I would say I'm in somewhat of the same boat. I've pretty much written off 2020. It's not a year for competitions, definitely for me. So it's like, right, continue to hold the line, push forward where we can. And, hopefully 2021 brings back some competition. But so I want to kind of talk to you. You've overcame so many obstacles, Robert. It's incredible. So since you've returned to civilian life, you've overcome, alcoholism, different, kind of drug abuse type stuff, personal hardships. What do you do to, day to day, what are you doing to stay so focused on your goals and kind of not slip backwards?
I just want to have a better life. I know what it's like to be in the dark. I know what it's like to be, to be alone and feel alone. I know what it's like to feel that pain, and I don't want to ever feel that again. I don't want to ever be in that place where I'm caught off guard, by those demons, and to have to be in that dark place, because that dark place is not fun.
Yeah.
And for a person like me, I never thought I would ever be touched, but I was wrong. I never thought I would be the one to ever be in those positions. I was wrong, because anybody, doesn't matter how strong, tough, big you are, they will come at you. And when you're alone and you're hiding, they're going to come and get you. And that's when they do. And my focus is that I'm never, ever going to put myself in a position where I have to be in that dark place. So, my life is good. I'm happy. I'm blessed. I have great people, great friends. And the way that I feel every day, and I just don't want to lose that. So it motivates me. I have a choice to make. I can either be miserable, or I can be happy and helping other people. And I'm not going to do that to myself again. And I'm not going to be in that, that dark spot. My focus every day is just to keep fighting, keep working hard to, share my story. And everyone's story is unique and special. And everybody should be able to share and help someone and change a life. And if I went back to do what I'm doing, I won't come back out again. God put me here for a reason, and he's giving me a chance, and my chance is to speak up. My chance is to let people know where I was at and how I made it. And so, with me being here now, I'm going to do that. I'm going to share my stories. I'm going to show people how physical fitness allowed me to be better, how God saved my life, how I'm sober. And I went from being on the bottom to still climbing. Every day is a challenge, though. Still, you know what I mean? Nothing is always
absolutely
perfect, and everything's like all great and gravy, because the battles are daily, but they don't have to be as intense. They don't have to be as crazy as they used to be, because there is times where I do feel down and I do feel sad, but that's when the gyms come. That's when the people that you have in your life that are not toxic can help you get through those.
Right.
And so, I have my bad days too, but you know what? I pray and I stay connected, and that's the main thing.
I kind of want to ask you another question that's the same side to that coin, Robert. Like you said right away, I think a lot of us can relate to this. It's not going to happen to me. We all think that. We all think that we're stronger. We can, overpower the demons or the bad things going on inside of us. It won't get me. We unfortunately know that's not the case. So I want to ask you, Robert, what would you tell to any veterans listening or that might watch this, that are in a dark place and, they're battling these demons or they feel like they can do it on their own? What advice do you have for them?
You just have to, my advice for anybody that feels like they're in a dark place and you don't think you're going to be touched is, the minute you admit that you have a problem or you call someone and ask for help is probably going to be the biggest relief that you have, because you get to let it out. You get to open up that shaken up soda and let some of that pressure out and release, because the more that you hide it, the more that you stuff it down and you try to drink and hide from your family and hide from your friends, all you're doing is building that up, and it's just going to explode on you. And when it explodes, it may cost your life, it may cost your family, it may cost so many things that we can't get back. And so, if there's somebody who is in that spot or in a dark place, there is a way out, and you can get out of that dark place. And if you don't think that you can always reach out to any of these other veterans that you see on a coach's corner. Yeah. You can reach out to anyone that is out, and they will tell you there is a way, I promise. And that the feeling of being in the light again is amazing, so that you can see. And if you want to be able to see again, you just have to ask. Don't be so prideful, because it took me almost 7 years, and it almost cost me my life, and I've already lost my family. So, don't do that. Just come. You can always reach out to me, find me on Instagram or whatever. And I will be there, but I know anybody on here would be able to help. Yeah.
I have one final question I want to ask you, Robert. What does it mean to you to be a CatchaLife athlete?
What it means to me to be a CatchaLife athlete, it just means that I am one of the few that are able to give back, like, to other veterans. CatchaLife is a place that, it's a family, but being a part of that, I also get to be here to share my stories. I get to go back and grab other veterans and pull them to physical fitness. I get to, help other active duty service members we have trained before, which is great. It's just being a part of CatchaLife has a huge impact on my life, because of not only them helping me out with getting my equipment and pushing me to different levels. I have a coach, I have a nutrition plans, I have all these things that are there for me. So it's just like being a part of a professional program. It's a legit professional program. You know what I mean? Like, I got everything I need it. So it just means the world to me that I have a family. I have a family here, and
absolutely,
and we all, we're all one. So
yes. Oh, wow. I think that's a good place for us to call it today. Robert, thank you so much for sharing your testimony with us, for sharing your light. I know it's going to, make a tremendous difference in the lives of many. So I want to just thank you again so much for your willingness to share and, share your story with us.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Yes, absolutely. That's it for this week's episode of Coach's Corner. We will return next Wednesday at 1 Eastern with another new episode. Thank you, Robert. Thank you to ID Technologies for your continued support of the CatchaLife Landing Zone website, the Coach's Corner podcast. Thank you to Lynn Coughlin and the entire CAL team for making this possible. We want to also invite any CAL veteran members that are watching right now. If you guys want to jump on after the live stream ends for Bert and I, just leave your name in the chat box and we'll get you guys on the call. Until next week, keep it real and stay CAL strong.